What up, Low Gang? The Dagger Duchess is still broken, so I decided I don't want to push into that. So today I'm just going to play Evolve Mortar Cycle. I don't want to play into it, so I just play Evolve Mortar on my side of the bridge. They have to come to me. My Dagger Duchess cleans stuff up at the bridge when I try and attack my mortar. My mortar's evolved, so it's going to get more broken the more I play it, and I'm going to cycle to it really fucking quickly because I'm playing a cycle deck that's like 1.9 average cycle, and it's broken because it has Little Prince as well, which for some reason is a 3 elixir champion that is broken and it shoots air and it just rounds off the deck quickly. And so even though I'm playing against these guys who are playing real decks, I'm so confident that we're going to win today that I'm going to tell you guys... Okay, he's lightninged and yet I'm still going to get damage. Pog champ. I'm so confident we're going to win today that I'm going to tell you guys about the day I got my letter from Hogwarts. And it's a crazy story, guys, because you're not going to believe it. Now, some of you may not know what I mean by that. What do you mean you got a letter for Hogwarts? That doesn't sound right. What is Hogwarts? And let me explain it to you. It was a normal Sunday. It was a normal Sunday at my auntie and uncle's. And one day I'm checking the letter and boom, what's that? It's a sealed letter from a mysterious school. And guess what? It's a school called Hogwarts. Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Now, when I see this, I'm like, what? I'm just a normal kid. That can't be possible. Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Anyway, my fat cousin takes it from me and he tries to show it to my uncle. My uncle rips it up and I'm like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, thousands of owls start sending the same letter to my house. And I'm like, okay, starting to get a bit sus here. What's going on? Especially when my uncle started to, like, literally tape up and board up the fucking letterbox so that we couldn't receive these letters. All addressed to me, by the way, which was very confusing. So one thing leads to another. I get a hold of one of the letters, not before moving to a rainy location on an island on a rock, by the way. We moved to a different location so that we didn't get these letters anymore. But then a big bearded man broke down the door and he handed the letter to me myself. His name was Hagrid. It was kind of crazy. And he said, "You're a wizard, Ken." And I couldn't believe it because my whole life, I'd just been just Ken. And so I got this letter. And this old dude, this bearded dude, was like, "You're a wizard." And I found out my parents didn't die in a car crash, which was crazy news, because that's what my auntie and uncle told me. So I didn't really appreciate them for that. And then all of a sudden, next thing I know, I'm shopping in this place that I didn't know existed in London for wizarding stuff. I'm buying a wand, I'm buying an owl. It's crazy. I'm buying everything I need as to be a wizard. And I don't even know where I'm going. I'm going into like the Highlands of Scotland to catch to go to fucking Hogwarts apparently. And it's crazy. So I get everything I need and then I get dropped off at King's Cross Station in London. And I'm like, okay, where do I catch the train? Where is the Hogwarts Express as it's known? And it's crazy because this Hagrid guy says I have to catch a train that's apparently on platform 9 3/4. And I'm like, what the fuck? I've been here tons of times because I live in London. And there's no platform 9 3/4. What is he smoking? So anyway, I'm standing there trying to figure it out. I asked one of the guards, or not the guards, one of the people who works at King's Cross Station. And he's like, "You think you're funny, lad? There's no 9 3/4. And I'm like, what the fuck? Did I just get trolled? Was this an epic prank? I'm not actually a wizard. I just got kidnapped by a big bearded dude. But he left me alone. And so I see these weird redheads going towards this wall. And I'm like, why the fuck are these guys and they're talking about Hogwarts. And I'm like, why are they running towards this wall? But they're also talking about platform 9 3/4. And, you know, you got to keep in mind, this same day I found out I was a fucking wizard. So nothing's off the table at this point. So I go up to them and I'm like, "Excuse me, can you help me get to 9 3/4? And keep in mind, I've never met these people before. And it is a mother, 2 redhead twins, a redhead little girl that I am going to find attractive in the future when I go to school with her. I predict, I think. I'm not 100% sure at this point, though. And another redhead boy who's called Ron. And so what I do is I ask them, yeah, how do I get to platform 9 3/4? And they say, you just have to sprint at a stone wall. And I didn't think this day could get any crazier, but now I'm apparently about to sprint at a stone wall, which I don't know if it's going to work, but if it doesn't, then I'm going to be in hospital for the rest of my life. And so I'm like, fuck it, we ball. I'd rather do that than go back to my auntie and uncle's. And so for some reason, I sprint at this wall, and all of a sudden, I go through. And next thing I know, I can see platform 9 3/4, and there's a train there. It's kind of crazy, it's kind of wild, but not as wild as finding out I'm a fucking wizard and a dude breaking down my door, handing me a letter, and then sprinting through a wall towards a train station. So I'm like, okay, what the fuck? And so I go through, and I don't know how I haven't won yet, by the way. I was talking all this gas. Actually, let me just kill the wizard. Yep, boom. You know what? Let me play another mortar. This is where it ends. And so anyway, I catch the train just in time. And I sit down, me and my new redhead Ron friend, we sit down at this table, and it's fantastic. We're becoming friends. He introduces me. He gives off the vibe that he's poor. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Then all of a sudden, we're sitting there in the cabin, and this girl comes by, this bushy-haired girl called Hermione, and she's like, hey, can I sit here? Everywhere else is taken.
Ding, ding.
And then I look at her and I'm like, hey, she's an attractive girl that I want to be friends with in the future, but guess what? I'm not sexually attracted to her. Why? I don't know. And so, okay, he's going to play giant in the back, so I'm just going to go mortar. And so anyway, we catch the train to school, and then because we're first years at Hogwarts, it's crazy, by the way, it's on this mountain, it's amazing. Because we're first years at this school, we have to catch boats. So we're catching boats. Hagrid's there when we arrived at Hogwarts. It's crazy. We're catching boats to the school. Then all of a sudden, we go up the stairs and we meet this teacher called McGonagall, apparently. And she is like a cat, but also a teacher. And it's kind of nuts. And so we go into the Great Hall, where we sit down in front of everybody in the school. And one of us goes up one at a time in front of to a hat. And we sit in front of this hat. And this hat sorts us into our houses. There are 4 houses: Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. And they can put us in one of the houses depending on our attributes. Gryffindor is like being brave and shit. Slytherin is being a cunt. Ravenclaw is being wise, and Hufflepuff is being a dumbass. That's essentially it. And so I'm like, I don't want to be in like any of them except Gryffindor. And so I go up there when they call my name Ken Forrest, and they put me in Gryffindor. Shit's crazy. I'm like, holy fuck, I made it into the one I want. But it's crazy because I was sitting under the hat, and the hat said, you can be in any house you want. I didn't want to be in fucking Slytherin, and that's where it was like you're putting me, so I said, please not Slytherin, and then it put me in Gryffindor. So anyway, now I'm in Gryffindor with all the Chads, and fucking Hermione and Ron both make it into Gryffindor as well. I don't know if they know about the cheat code. So anyway, we're hanging out there. I'm having a great time. Ron's young sister is not at the school yet, so I'm disappointed because I am going to have interest in her more non-platonically. And so anyway, the day goes on at the school. I go to a few classes. There's this Severus Snape teacher dude who doesn't like me. He just stares at me, and he judges me the whole time. And I'm like, what the fuck, bro? What did I do to you? Little do I know he had a sexual relationship behind the scenes with my mother, but who is now dead. Didn't know that at the time, though, so that was kind of weird. And so for some reason, because he didn't like my dad, he's going to treat me differently for the next, let's say if my life story could be filled in books, it would take about 8 books, maybe 7. And so, anyway, yeah, he treats me weirdly. And then all of a sudden, I realize I have a flashback. There's something I forgot to mention. When me and Hagrid were hanging out earlier, you know Hagrid, the old bearded guy, the big bearded guy that saved me from who kidnapped me from my cousin's house, he told me that we need to go to Gringotts Bank first. And so what we did is we went to a bank, a goblin-run bank, in London earlier this day, before we went to Hogwarts, and we had to get something for him. And it was a little stone. It was a stone in the safe. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Turns out it's the Philosopher's Stone. And so I find out about the Philosopher's Stone attempts to be stolen, and now I know it's being kept at Hogwarts because Hagrid got it. And that's what if I had to title my life in a movie, it would probably be like Ken Forrest and the Philosopher's Stone, or Ken Forrest and the Sorcerer's Stone, or some shit. So anyway, me, Ron, and Hermione get freaky in the sheets, and next thing we know, we're exploring the castle late at night, and I go into one of the rooms, and there's a 3-headed dog there, and it goes woof, 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 and I'm like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, I realize it's guarding something. There's a trapdoor under it, and I'm like, oh, it must be the Philosopher's Stone. And so I'm like, okay, what is the Philosopher's Stone? Then me and hot Hermione, who I'm not attracted to, non-platonically, it's just a platonic friendship for some reason, God knows why, I'm not attracted to her. We go to the library, we figure it out, and it turns out there's this dude who made the stone, and he's like a philosopher called Nicholas Flamel or some shit, and apparently if you get the stone, you can live forever. Now, something I forgot to mention as well is both my parents were murdered by an evil dude called Voldemort, who basically has no hair. I don't know if he used to have hair, but he killed both my parents, so that's not PogChamp. And apparently he's wanting to grab the stone. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm at my school, a young kid, and I'm also aware of this fact that this dude is wanting to steal the stone. And so anyway, one fateful night, I'm in this forest all of a sudden. I think we're in the forest because we got punished. I remember what happened now. Of course, my memory's a little shady. What's happening is, wait, hang on. Nothing bad's happening, right? Yeah, okay. Winning as usual. And so one night, we're in the bathroom, and a troll comes in and starts throwing, I don't know, swinging its bat at me, Ron, and Hermione. And we're like, what the fuck? And so we stopped the troll. Long story short, we got punished for fighting a troll by ourselves. And so we got sent to the Forbidden Forest, which is this place that is forbidden. Surprise, surprise. And we go to the Forbidden Forest, which we're not normally meant to go, but apparently as a punishment, they send us there. Me, Hagrid, Hermione, and Draco Malfoy, who is my arch nemesis at this point, go to this Forbidden Forest because we're like, what the fuck? We have to get punished and go here? That's not really a what the fuck moment. That's just something we kind of had to do. I don't know why I said we're like, what the fuck? I just like saying that. What the fuck? Anyway, that didn't get damaged by the fireball. And so we go to this Forbidden Forest, and all of a sudden, I get lost by myself. Draco runs off like a pussy. And I see this dude on the floor next to a unicorn. Yep, unicorns exist apparently. Next to a unicorn sucking its blood because he's trying to live off unicorn blood. And apparently unicorn blood is a sinful thing to do, but it can keep you alive if you want to live a life of sin. And I see this dude sucking the unicorn blood, and I'm like, that's not really something I want to be a part of. And he starts gliding towards me, and I'm like, fuck, get away from me. And then all of a sudden, the dog I'm next to saves me, or the dog, Hagrid's dog, like saves me from fucking getting wrecked by this creepy dude. And all of a sudden, I'm like, what the fuck? That was Voldemort. That was the dude that killed my parents. What's he doing in the Forbidden Forest? Turns out, he's lingering around to steal the Philosopher's Stone. Now, Quirrell is one of my teachers. There's a teacher called Professor Quirrell, and he wears a turban on his head. And I'm like, what? Why is he wearing a turban? He must be hiding something, because none of the other... Not that there's anything wrong with wearing turbans, but like, why do none of the other teachers have turbans? Is that part of his religion or what? Turns out, he's probably going to be hiding Voldemort under that turban, which is something I don't know at this point, but I'm suspicious, definitely, because turbans are suspicious, apparently. And so next thing I know, I am all of a sudden going on a quest to figure out what the fuck is going on with... Fuck, hang on, hold that thought. What the fuck is going on with that dog, and what is it guarding? Is it guarding the Philosopher's Stone? And then if it is someone going to try and steal it from me? Or steal it from Hogwarts, and Hagrid, and Dumbledore, who's, I haven't mentioned, he's the principal of the school. He's basically an old fart who's actually really good at magic. And so he's the principal. He's trying to keep the Philosopher's Stone safe. For some reason, it's being kept at a school, because apparently Hogwarts is the safest place in this magic land. And so anyway, I'm like, maybe someone's trying to steal the stone. So what do? I don't contact the authorities. I don't tell anyone about it. I basically take it into my own hands to be like, all right, let's go and see what's happening with this trapdoor. Let's go and try and fucking explore it ourselves. Maybe we can see what's happening ourselves, because, you know, fuck contacting people who know what they're doing. We're kids. We know how to do everything. And so me, Ron, and Hermione basically go to the sleepy dog, and all of a sudden, oh my god, the dog is sleeping when we get there. The three-headed dog has been put to sleep. Somebody knows how to put it to sleep, and guess what it is? It's an instrument. Someone is playing an instrument and has put it to sleep by playing it. And so I later find out that apparently Hagrid sold a dragon egg to somebody, and in exchange told them prior... What am I saying? Hang on. This guy does the same goddamn thing every time, and I'm not learning. Let's just make sure we don't die. This guy is getting desperate. Apparently Hagrid told somebody at the pub about how to put a sleepy dog to sleep. Fuck knows why, because he's an idiot. So I've basically taken the mature role here, and I'm like, okay, Hagrid's an idiot. He told somebody how to put the fluffy, sleepy-head, three-headed dog thing to sleep. So what we're going to do is we're going to defend this goblin barrel before he fireballs, and we're going to win the game. And so apparently the three-headed dog has been put to sleep by the person that Hagrid told. Turns out that person Hagrid told is probably not a good person. Maybe the person who was in the Forbidden Forest sucking on the unicorn blood. And so one thing leads to another. We go down the trapdoor, and all of a sudden we get past the three-headed dog. We go down the trapdoor, past the three-headed dog, and we find out, oh, the fucking Philosopher's Stone is not down there after all. In fact, there is a series of fucking obstacles. The first one is Devil's Snare. Now, what Devil's Snare is, it's pretty much quicksand. It sucks you down, and you have to do a spell to get through it. You have to shine light on it, and we don't know that, and so Ron is an idiot, and he keeps squirming around, and it sucks him down faster. And Hermione tells him to calm down. So me and Hermione slip through. By the way, I'm not sexually attracted to Hermione. Who knows why? But no, I mean, I know why, because I'm not. And so we go through this. Ron freaks out, wastes our time. And one thing leads to another. We get through. Eventually, Ron gets through. And it's fucking boppity. And so then after that, the next thing we have to do is apparently there is a bunch of keys flying around. Literal keys. Yes, I said keys. Fucking keys are flying around. And a broomstick is provided, and apparently what we need to do to progress to the next stage to find the Philosopher's Stone, or whatever's at the end of this maze of obstacles, is we have to fuck. we have to... Okay, we're fine. The next thing we have to do is we have to find the right key to fit the slot so that we can get through to the next room. And guess what? What's the next room once we find the right key? Because I'm good at flying on a broomstick. By the way, I'm a Quidditch world champion because apparently my dad was, and so therefore I am. Forgot to mention that, by the way. My dad's called James. He's dead. And so we go through... Okay, Evolve Royal Giant, relax. And so we go through after I find the key, and all of a sudden we have to play a game of chess. Now, this isn't a normal game of chess like you're probably used to. This is bullshit wizard's chess, where apparently the pieces are kind of alive, and when you take a piece, they like get their sword out and they fucking slash each other down. And so we have to ride on the pieces for some reason, me, Ron, and Hermione. I don't know why we can't like commentate or like command the game from the sidelines. Apparently we have to actively be a part of the game. And so we start playing the game of chess, and it's crazy. Wizard's chess, and I have to basically, Ron is the one who knows all the rules and how to play it well. So I have to let him basically take command. And while he's doing that, he has to sacrifice himself to win the game so that Hermione can make the final move and win the game, or I do. I can't really remember. Memory's hell spotty. So one of us gets sacrificed, has to be sacrificed, and that person is Ron, because Ron says, Ken, you're the only one that can go forwards. You know it. You're the chosen one. You're the best. I want to suck you, and I would do anything for you. In a platonic way, of course. And so all of a sudden, I go through to the final stage while Ron and Hermione stay behind, and who knows what dirty stuff they get up to. And all of a sudden, oh my god, it's Quirrell's turban. And so Quirrell's got his turban on, and guess what he does? He looks behind me, and he's looking at a mirror. I'm in this room with Quirrell, who's my teacher with the turban, by the way. Not trying to discriminate, but he does have a weird turban. And he has Voldemort on the back of his head. But I don't know that yet. He has been carrying Voldemort on the back of his head this whole time. I didn't even know that. And he's looking at a mirror, and he's like, I can't figure it out. Where's the Philosopher's Stone? And it turns out this mirror shows you what you desire the most. But I guess it doesn't work for like evil people or some bullshit. And so all of a sudden, oh my god, I reach into my pocket when I look in the mirror, and I can see where the Philosopher's Stone is. It's in my fucking pocket. But when he sees it, he can't see shit because the mirror can tell when someone is good or evil or some shit. I don't know how it works. And so I have the Philosopher's Stone. Quirrell's like, where's the Philosopher's Stone? And then Voldemort whispers some snaky shit to him, and he's like, the boy has it. And so he tells me, oh my god, give me the stone or I'm going to fucking murder you, just like I killed your parents. And I'm like, never. And then he chases after me, and he tries to touch me. And when he tries to touch me, you know, like, okay, I'm not going to make any references. When he tries to touch me, his hand starts melting. And then I'm like, wait, do I have superpowers? So I just press my hands on his face, and he literally starts burning alive. And I'm like, hey, this is tight. And so I get to maintain the Philosopher's Stone. And this guy, I thought I was playing a brain dead deck. Okay, that's not on my lawn. No evolved skeletons. Okay, that's actually a lot of skeletons. Don't like that. And so anyway, I put my hands on his face, and it basically carves him up. He starts burning alive, and then Voldemort basically just flies off as a spirit and escapes. I stop him from getting the Philosopher's Stone. I pass out, but not before making Voldemort have to escape. And therefore, I've done it. I've saved everyone. I did what everyone thought I couldn't. I guess I proved the haters wrong, and I saved the school from demise and the whole world from demise. And then Dumbledore says you did good, and I'm like, hell yeah, the principal said I did good. And then there's one final scene in my life where I'm in the Great Hall again, the place where I got sorted into my house. You know, remember Gryffindor was my house, the one I chose, even though the hat told me I'm a Slytherin because I'm probably a snaky motherfucker in real life. They told me that I got extra points. Like, I got extra house points because you know how there's like houses. They have like a house tournament every year apparently. And we got bonus points for, you know, doing good things for the school, like fighting a troll and like, you know, stopping the whole world from stopping Voldemort from getting this Philosopher's Stone, which by the way, I didn't mention, lets you live forever. It keeps you immortal. So anyway, I got points for that, and Slytherin were going to win. Slytherin were literally going to win the cup. They had their banners on the sides in the Great Hall and everything. They were literally meant to win. It was over. They'd already put the decorations up. And then Dumbledore was like, fuck it, let's deal out some last minute points to Gryffindor for doing the right thing. And we end up winning by 1 point, which even I thought was bullshit at the time. And all of a sudden, whoa, Gryffindor win the year. It's a perfect year. I defeated Voldemort. Gryffindor won the cup through bullshit at 1 point. Slytherin lost. Draco, my nemesis, lost. And so because of that, I collect the dub, and I'm happy. And if my life was a movie, it would end in a very happy sequence. And I'm smiling, and I get on the Hogwarts Express, smiling, looking back at the school, and I say goodbye to everybody and go back to my aunt and uncles, ready for another year at Hogwarts. And that's basically how it happened. Subscribe.